Hey everybody, welcome to Matt Men, your source for all things professional wrestling. I'm Andrew Zarian. I'm joined by my remote buddy, Rich Stambolian, live from the North Pole.
I am the Yule Ghoul today. What's going on, everybody? Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy past Hanukkah. Well, I love you all. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Thursday, Andrew.
Happy Thursday, Rich. Rich is not in studio because I'm sick. I came down with that virus that we're not allowed to mention here on YouTube without being demonetized. So I guess you guys could assume what it is.
Third time's the charm, bud.
Third time is the charm. This is my third time with this. Or third positive, I would say. Sometimes it's a false positive, but I would say this is the third positive.
You got to start wearing your mask. Did you change your mind about your train mask mandate?
No, I don't care. I don't care. I'm fine with this. It was a cold. No, I feel fine. I feel totally fine. It was, I would say if I didn't have what I had, like if this was pre-2019, like pre-2020, like it's like, when you're sick and you go to work, that's what it is. It's like, I got a little cold, I'm still going in. Obviously, different world now. You don't do that. And you stay home, which is excellent. So I've been home all week. Miserable that I'm home. I hate being home. I hate not being able to do stuff. I had a bunch of meetings this week. I had a bunch of dinners this week. Nothing is happening. So I've just been sitting on my ass at home all week.
Don't you have two beautiful kids at home? Why do you hate being home?
Well, no, they weren't home. They were in school.
We got $5 here from Bob Rowe for Andrew's ivermectin prescription.
Thank you. I'll go buy it now. Guys, this is a show all about professional wrestling. This is not our last show of the year. Next week is our last show of the year. We actually had a bunch of stuff that we had planned for today. We were going to do our prediction show. We were going to do our worst of, our best of. We were going to do a Q&A show that we had planned for this week. Obviously, things got really wacky because I got sick. We're still going to do it. We just need to reschedule it.
I'm also coming in remote next week.
You are remote next week.
Yeah, I don't want to be around your cooties for at least a month.
I'm good. I'm done. And here's the screwed up thing. I can't even go get tested right now. I got to figure out how the hell I'm going to get tested because I think I'll be fine tomorrow. But
you can order a testing truck to your house.
You know what? I probably would. Is it possible? I'll do that if I can. Mm-hmm. You can, totally really. I wonder how much they charge.
I don't know. You might want to look into your insurance.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. That's a good pick. Rich is going to be remote till 2024. It's been decided.
I'd love to.
A lot going on in pro wrestling. I want to thank everybody for this awesome year that we've had. Obviously, this ride has been unbelievable. Ton of great wrestling has happened this year. There was a great Dynamite last night. But before we go into everything, I want to remind everybody, if you enjoy what we do, you could join our Patreon. We have bonus material that goes on every now and then, but it's more to help get the show going. Obviously, we have multiple producers. We got Rich doing this, you got me doing it, but this kind of helps pay the bills and the equipment upgrades and all the changes. I mean, listen, we got the chair, we got the mic arm, we got the new mics, we got Rich's setup going, and that's all crowd-funded. That's all you guys that are supporting that. So if you want to support us, head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/MattMenPodcast. You could also, if you're watching live, and we do this live every Thursday, 10:30 a.m. East. I know it's early, but you know what? Let's start the day with pro wrestling. What better way to start your day on a Thursday? You could head on over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/MattMenPodcast, and you could super chat us, whatever you want to super chat us. Rich, do you want to begin the show?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, speaking of your unfortunate news of being tested positive for rock and roll, apparently WWE talent and employees tested positive for the virus across the board.
Yeah. Listen, man, if... It's never great to be sick, but if you're going to be sick, this is kind of the one that you want out of all the variants, because this was like an annoying head cold. That's all it was for me.
Are you running for Senate like Dr. Oz with that information?
I am running for Senate. Just letting everybody know. My TV show, my syndicated TV show is going to get canceled. Just how it works. Isn't it funny Dr. Oz is running for Senate?
He's such a wiener.
He actually still does procedures.
Get out of here.
Yeah, he still practices. Like, he's a surgeon. I believe he's a cardiologist, right?
Is he really? I thought he was just like a funky witch doctor.
No. He's like a legitimate doctor, like a very well-respected doctor that just happens to want to be a celebrity. I know someone that works in his OR, and he's like, he loves this man. It's fascinating. Go ahead. Yeah, so people got COVID. It's going to happen. This is a very contagious variant. And people are getting it.
To interrupt you, Cadillac Carson, $4.99. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. Glad you're doing good, Andrew.
Thank you so much. I know some people were very upset with me over the weekend, and they were not they were happy I got COVID. Let me just say that. Some of the comments I got.
Yeah, you've been getting dumped on the internet a lot, dude.
You know what, though? I got to tell you, some of it was my fault. Saturday was my fault. I did not structure my thoughts properly. I actually went to the F4W board, and I kind of put an explanation there, and I got a bunch of DMs from people. They're like, dude, why didn't you just explain it this way? I'm like, I know, I should have.
It's so weird how people just want you, like you specifically, if you go through your own timeline, like whenever you tell me about something, I'm like, this is pretty self-explanatory. I don't know why folks across the board are like, well, what do you mean?
Well, you know what? I'll tell you this, and this is something that I sometimes write stuff, and I assume that like my sarcasm or like my tongue-in-cheek, comment will come across that way. Mm-hmm. But I think some people just read things literally. Like, actually, they will read it, and they will say that this is what he is putting out there, and these are his words, and this is the message he wants out there, rather than seeing like, okay, let's look at the ridiculousness of some of the quotes. You know what I mean? I'm like, whatever. It is what it is. What are you gonna do? But I wrote this whole thing, and I think people kind of understood. They're like, oh, dude, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see what else we got here. This is an interesting thing. I'm going to piggyback off of what you said in one of your comments that you made the other day about who is the biggest star to come out of NXT / the Performance Center. And Braun Strowman says he was the first and biggest.
You know what? I have to tell you, so there was that article that came out, and then I put out that tweet asking people, and I did learn that people don't know the difference between male and female. That was a big part of what I discovered.
Huge.
The amount of people that told me Charlotte and Bianca Belair are the biggest stars, biggest male stars to come out of NXT, and I don't think they were trying to make like a ridiculous joke about it. I just think that people don't read fully. But it says something where those are the two. The women are the easiest ones to find in that pack of, generally homegrown talent. And what do I mean by that? I mean, no mainstream exposure prior to coming in. No cult following like you would see with somebody that comes from Ring of Honor that has a name like Hangman Page, right? Hangman is not he's not a homegrown talent for. I don't know how. You know what? He is an AEW guy. I would say he's an AEW original, but he kind of developed outside of AEW.
Oh,
New Japan, you have Ring of Honor, you had the Indies. I mean, he's been doing this for a while. What I meant by homegrown is someone that you are not familiar with. Maybe they have some indie training, but for 99% of people, you don't know who that person is. You look at the women's roster, and it's Alexa, Charlotte, Becky,
Bianca,
even Nia Jax. They created a big star. It's endless. It's endless the amount of new stars they created for the women's division that have kind of been propelled to the top of that roster. But you listen, I would count Becky for sure because nobody in North America knew who Becky Lynch was.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
You know, if you follow the indies, yeah, maybe. But I would say she was homegrown,
Absolutely,
I'm not saying,
but that's not the question you asked.
That is not the question I asked. The question was, who's a homegrown male talent? And I set the rules. NXT Performance Center 2013 plus.
Right.
I did get a very interesting one. The Revival.
They didn't have an indie career before NXT?
They did not have an indie career. They were not placed together before NXT, and I believe they didn't really have a. One of them might have had more of a. I don't know if it was Wheeler or
Cash
Cash Wheeler or Dax, but they were combined together, so I would say that they're pretty successful as an act that was created in NXT and Performance Center. But it's definitely Braun Strowman, right?
It's got to be. I'm going to interrupt this for a second.
Yeah.
Here's a $4.99 from Matt Reichel, friend of the show. Merry Christmas, Rich and Andrew. Got a sinus infection and on antibiotics, but negative for COVID. What are the odds AEW and WWE go back to Florida?
I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, dude.
New York has adamantly, like, New York is a pretty liberal city. Like, if you even bring up or state even, right? If you bring up like in all these pressers, like, oh, is New York shutting down? Their adamant answer is absolutely not. We can't do that again. That's never going to happen again. That's the New York answer for shutting things down. So if New York's not going to shut down,
yeah, for sure, Florida's not shutting down.
Florida's definitely not.
Florida's definitely not shutting down. But to continue, Braun Strowman for sure. And you know what? He was with Adam Rose. He was one of the party guys, right? He was what was the party guys called? The Rosebuds?
The Rosebuds.
He was the big Rosebud, and then the PC molded him into Braun Strowman. I believe he had only 7 or 8 matches under his belt total before getting onto the main roster with the Wyatt family. Yeah.
Well, also, a lot of people said Bray, but Bray was FCW. Bray was developed there. And I'm not counting FCW developmental because it was a very different system. Mm-hmm. It was interesting that, and this kind of says a lot about why they shifted. And this has always been the answer to me when I've asked. It's the fact that they did not really create too many homegrown stars. And almost every single one of the graduates from NXT turned out to be, not megastars, but really well-known pro wrestling stars prior. Baron Corbin's the other one. Mm-hmm. It's Baron Corbin and Braun, really.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I understood what you meant by star. You meant somebody who they hired as a project. The project was successful and they made it onto TV. You know, WWE mainstream TV, Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-views, that I know you and I on this show consider a star, right?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
As opposed to like Roman Reigns or, like main eventers. You didn't say main eventers, you said stars. I think, everybody's called a superstar. I would say
anywhere from, if you are on, because you could list so many people that came up, right? But if you are in the upper mid card to the top of the card, I would consider you like the top stars. Like, who are the top stars that came out of there? And those two are the only ones really that I could think of for the men. Jordan, you know what? A lot of people said Chad Gable. That was one.
Jason Jordan.
I think Jason, if he had not been injured, I think the upside on Jason Jordan would have been tremendous. I was really looking forward to what he could do. Handsome guy, great in ring, nice babyface personality, but they did that weird angle. That Kurt Angle stuff was so bizarre.
I loved it. I wanted more. I wanted everybody to be Kurt Angle's son at some point.
I mean, he what was the story that he banged his mom in college?
Yeah, something like that. Or like his mom, some weird thing like that. I want everybody to be Kurt Angle's son and The Rock's cousin at the same time.
I think that's very possible to do. Very possible to figure out. So I thought that was interesting. I thought that was an interesting question to present. It says a lot about why they shifted to this new version of NXT. This new version of developmental. I don't think... and listen, is it a problem? Is it a problem that they didn't create somebody from the ground up? I think it's very difficult to create somebody from the ground up. You're never going to get that, that OVW class of 2002 again. Like, if that's what they're chasing. Yeah. And I think that is kind of what they want, right? They want the fact that you got, long-term top star talents from a graduating class. And really, that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The people in that class, actually, a lot of them had training. Batista had some training coming in. Brock Lesnar was probably the greenest, but the guy's an animal. There's nobody on the planet like a Brock Lesnar. Who else was in that class? It was
Shelton Benjamin,
yeah. Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, John Cena, Batista, and I think there was like, was Rico in that?
He may have been.
Do you remember hearing about such upside for Rico Constantino?
Yeah, isn't he like a bounty hunter or a cop
He's
or something now?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's like and what's his name as a bounty hunter? Steve Blackman, one of my favorite wrestlers from the 90s.
Steve Blackman, or are you thinking of Dr. Death?
No. Steve Blackman. He's a bounty hunter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Would you ever be a bounty hunter? Would you ever be a bounty hunter?
No. Like dog? Yeah, I would be like dog.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man.
I want the whole earrings, and I want to just say prayers after I arrest somebody.
That hair.
Fantastic.
I want you to have. Can somebody Photoshop your face onto
the dog, the bounty hunter,
please?
But what do you think?
What do I think about what that class? It's awesome.
Yeah, like do you think it's possible that they could do that again?
I think the time now is so different with wrestling, specifically on TV, and how WWE presents it. You know, WWE will, I don't think in the foreseeable future, present anything like an AEW show. You know, like you're not going to get any more hour-long amazing Iron Man matches or anything like that. I think you're going to get better women's matches, but as far as the guys go, I think you're going to get like that 7-step match produced process. You know, like big move, grapple suplex, turn the crowd around, big finish, and that's it, and go home. And then everybody remains healthy. You know, like if you look at the way Brock has wrestled in the last few years compared to how he used to wrestle, I think that's what they're more going for. You know, that big like Andre the Giant Hogan style from back in the day.
Yeah.
These guys from that class were like the workhorses where you can compare their work rate to like, I don't want to go so far as to say like Flair's and Harley Races, but I feel like there was more of that spirit of like, it was ruthless aggression, right?
Yeah. You got to work hard, work snug, you know.
Yeah.
Very
like
different
all
era.
that stuff. Whenever I think about things like that, I always think about Luger, how Luger was kind of like, he was a football guy, and they really put a lot of work into making Luger shine in all of his matches, right?
But what was his issue? Well, why do you think he didn't really work out to be the guy? I know they wanted that so bad. After Flair left, like they wanted Luger to be that guy. And it just feels like something was missing.
I think it all comes down to attitude. You know, when you look at those interviews and you're like, it's always that one slip up, right? Where somebody, like, take Sid, for example. Like, Sid, isn't there stories where he would disagree with everything creative had for him?
Yeah, and he would go off and play softball.
Yeah, and then they turn around and be like, no, like, if you do this, we'll put, like, the belt on you. And then he'll be like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah, he's another fascinating guy, though. He's another one, right? Because you don't really talk about him. When you talk about like that era, Sid is never brought up in the discussion of that like 90s era champions.
People love Sid. When I was a kid, when we were kids, people went bananas for Sid.
Big, jacked up, curly-haired, blonde lunatic. You know,
he
what
looked
a
insane.
Look. He did.
Yeah,
he
what
looked
a look.
Insane. Unbelievable.
And people don't mention him because like he kind of fell off the map, right? I'm sure there are a lot of guys like that who were primed to be in that A1 position, and something happened and they just weren't. Lex Luger, great example. He never put the belt on him in WWE, and we went through this like a while ago on the show about how they did kind of like a house show test with him winning the belt, right? That was like stricken from the record.
I think didn't we do a what if when you know what, we should do the what ifs in 2022 again. Oh yeah, we should organize those what ifs, because I think we did a what if Lex Luger won the world title. Or I think the what if was, what if Lex Luger stayed in WWE and he signed the contract when he was leaving? And I think we worked it all the way up to 98 with Lex Luger in WWE. I think we also did the Warrior one, which that is my ultimate favorite what if that we did. And it's what if Ultimate Warrior signed a WWE contract in December 97.
That was a good one. I want to ask you something about I know we're going off on a little bit of a tangent.
Yeah, and we're going into news. Are you in a rush? Because I got some time today.
No. But okay. It is the festive season, so we can go a little long today. About Luger, how close were they with the Lex Express and the Intrepid thing to really making him into All-American Hogan, like part 2?
He wouldn't get the reactions at the house shows. That was the problem. He wasn't getting the reaction, and people, and that, you know, and I sometimes feel like that's unfair. I think he should have beat Yoko at that SummerSlam where it was a count out. I think he won via count out or DQ, or he lost via count out. I can't remember, but it was a messed up finish. I remember specifically watching that, and I was so convinced Lex Luger was going to win the title. And listen, by the way, this is the cool thing about pro wrestling, right? Like, as a kid, you even could kind of see the patterns, right, on how they do stuff. Like, when they did that big Intrepid thing, I was like, oh, yeah, this guy's the man now. That was such a big deal. Like, it was all over New York press. It was all over New York press. It was a PR success for them. And I was like, oh, this guy has to win the title. Has to win the title. And they didn't put the title on him.
Nope.
And then they did the and that was that tournament, right? Didn't they? And then that led into the tournament at WrestleMania 10.
Yeah, that Intrepid thing I will never ever forget for the rest of my life, because one, that shit looked wild.
It did look
two,
wild.
You're on the if you've never been on the Intrepid or on any kind of like aircraft carrier, the sheer size of it is massive. And for them to do that on the Intrepid, it like on the Hudson River, man, like I get chills thinking about it, you know. But lack of charm for this guy, right? He didn't have that extra little bit of charm to take him to that next level.
You know what we should do? We should do a what if show. There we go. This is why you should not be in the room with me. It was the most disgusting sneeze of my life that I just did.
Oh, man.
I mean,
there are many other reasons I shouldn't be in that room.
Yeah, you really shouldn't be in this room, but that's the main reason.
Spitting, keep spraying cologne under the desk at me.
You know what? Let's go back to all of this at the end of the show.
Sure.
Because I find this whole conversation is interesting to me. Go ahead, Rich. What else do we have?
So up next on the news, we have Vince McMahon apparently does not want no-cut contracts.
Yeah, this was interesting, and this kind of spiraled online. There was a report or a rumor that Kevin Owens signed a no-cut contract, which I don't know many, if anybody, in WWE having a no-cut. Like, I'm sure somebody has brought this up to me, but I can't remember for the life of me. Listen, and a no-cut contract really doesn't mean no cut. You know what I mean? It's never that.
Yeah.
You can still get out of a contract. So Vince doesn't want a no-cut contract. I get it. You know?
Yeah.
You want leverage. And he has that leverage with his talent and the contracts, which is, you know, all right. You know, it is what it is. Kevin Owens signed a big deal. So I think that kind of triggered this whole conversation here. But Owens re-signing, and we'll add more if this is in the notes. I'll add some more to that. Is it in the notes? The Owens stuff? Did he put it in? Or that
MG, can you put it in if it's not in there?
Okay, it's not in there. But I mean, the story is that
may have been in last week's.
It might have been. It probably was last week's. Yeah, but he signed a big deal. You know, a couple $1 million a year. He's staying there. He's happy there. He's getting a push on TV. Yeah. People are enjoying him on Raw. He's a major asset to that company, and he did what was right for his family, and that was his answer. You know, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, dude. He even said, like,
who are you mouthing off to?
I'm mouthing off to my wife.
There's nobody there. There's nobody there, dude.
There's nobody here. The contract that he signed, he said, like, he pretty much said, like, I got to think about my family. I've been doing this forever.
Yeah.
You know, why not? And he's got a home there, and he's felt accepted.
Yeah. Listen, that's all you want in life is job security and a great group of people that you're working with. So, I mean, good for him. Follow up on MJF's tweet. You want to go into that? Interesting. They asked Tony Khan. CBS News or CBS Sports had an interview with Tony Khan, and they asked him about the story that I put on WrestlingObserver.com, and that's the network interest in MJF. And his response was exactly how I thought he would respond to it, and that's, dude, this is fantastic. People are talking about the product. They're talking about AEW. They're talking about one of my top talents. Talk about it some more. Get some more, have some more interest in him, because that only means that we're doing the right thing.
Absolutely. And like, you know, like he's the type of heel that like kind of doesn't, he's not like a WWE heel, right? Where a WWE heel would be like, listen guys, this is the character I play on TV. He's that snob every single day online, right? On social media. I'm sure he's a very nice guy in real life. People have said that. But as far as being online goes, I think he retweeted what on your article saying like, hey, it's going to be the biggest bidding war of 2024.
Yeah. And listen, a lot of that is a character playing a character, but there is some truth to that. Listen, if you're MJF, and I'm not saying that this is what I want him to do, but if you get thrown a couple $1 million, And wrestling is a very short career for many people. You're going to think about it. Not saying that he's going to take it or I know anything about it, but, if I throw you a tremendous offer, you're not going to even consider it? Of course you are.
Absolutely. Do you think there's going to be a bidding war for Mr. Gonzo in 2024?
Nobody wants him.
Oh, no. Oh,
I'm the only guy.
Sorry,
Oh,
guys.
he's giving me the finger. Did you see that? You're getting the finger. You can't see it, but I can. Sorry, Mr. Gonzo. Fantastic.
Sorry, Gons.
Fantastic.
Gons fans.
All right.
So, do you want to go into SmackDown, or do you want to go just like skip over SmackDown, going to Raw, going to NXT? Like, what do you want to do?
Let's go into the Roman Reigns stuff.
Sure.
Just the Roman stuff. We'll be quick.
Roman Reigns apparently fires Paul Heyman. Lesnar saves Paul Heyman after taking a Superman punch. Lesnar F5s every single person on the planet, making them The Rock's cousin.
By the way, that is how you become The Rock's cousin. He F5s you so hard that you turn into The Rock's cousin. I thought it was great. I very much enjoyed SmackDown. The ending especially was great. The Brock Lesnar stuff was fantastic. The Roman Reigns stuff was fantastic. There was somebody being critical of Paul Heyman. They're like, how come we just stood there waiting for the Superman punch? And Lance Storm, my co-host last week on Wrestling Observer Live, by the way, one of the nicest people in the world, and what a great guy to have on the show. Nice. I felt the chemistry. I felt it working. He did yell at me for touching. I felt the kinship. He did yell at me for touching the microphone too much, so I'm gonna not touch the microphone.
That, doesn't he?
He hates it.
He said that to Garrett.
He did, and he said it to me.
Thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just like anti-mic touch.
He's anti-mic touch. He's
like when
big
if
time.
you touch certain people's knees, they get like really skeeved out and they hate it.
That's how he gets skeevots.
When he sees somebody touching the mic, he's just like, whoa.
He turns into an Italian guy from Brooklyn. He's like, oh, that's scavats.
So
knocks the Calgary right out of him. I thought that was fantastic. I very much liked it. Now, his response here was, which I found like so great. He goes, "Yeah, dude, he was petrified. He couldn't even move. He was so scared of getting hit."
Right.
Like, there you go. That's your answer. I thought it was really good. All right, Raw time.
Raw time. You're so enthusiastic about that.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So this is an interesting thing. Almost turns on AJ Styles. They're gonna meet on Raw, but you know what? This leads to pretty much. There's big plans for these guys next year.
I hate the Omos and AJ Styles team. I hated it from day one.
Oh, I really dug it. They really honestly did it for me, and I love seeing Omos like develop and everybody trying to help the guy, and it seems like it was working. I feel like once that guy turns the charm on like big time, there's gonna be no stopping him.
I hope so. I hope he's a success for him. He's a big dude, and you don't get those guys too often.
No, not at all. He's got a unique look.
Yeah,
they protected him very well. You know, I bet you he's got a crazy laugh. I don't know why. So? I think
like
he's got a crazy laugh.
Great laugh. Okay,
like a great laugh. Yeah. So they're gonna do big things with them. AJ showed up on NXT, which is kind of interesting, but we're gonna get into that. Ziggler and Bobby Roode, with Bobby Roode, defeated Damian Priest via countout. Ziggler gets a title shot next week. I don't want to see Damian Priest without that belt.
He looks fantastic with that belt, right?
He is such a great addition
to
the overall main roster.
Yeah, I was a fan of his in Ring of Honor, and I was a little worried when he came to the main roster because, you know, NXT, they used them sparingly. They were pretty careful how they used him in NXT, but I was afraid when he came to the main roster that, you know, something might happen, but they've been pretty good with him from day one. You know, he was put in that big program with Bad Bunny to get that over, and it worked, and I think it worked for him also. It didn't just work for Bad Bunny, it worked for him. All I hear is great stuff about him. He has a tremendous look. He has a presence. Personally, I'm a fan of his, and I hope that it continues.
I agree with you 100%. I like the guy a lot. Liv Morgan, I'm sorry, I skipped. The Cutting Edge came back with Maurice, which was kind of interesting. I feel like Edge is using every opportunity to flex his acting skills, which I'm a big fan of. And, you know, he does this whole thing with Maurice. He gets jumped by The Miz, even though he knew it was coming, so he kind of turned the tables. I got a question for you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Is The Miz and Maurice top 5 all-time WWE couples?
I think in the timeline, like if they were to compile it, what would it be? It'd be Macho and Elizabeth, right?
Yeah.
It would have been Nikki and John.
Yeah.
Who else is? Lana and Rusev would have been another one.
Oh my God, Lana and Rusev, fantastic. Luna and Bam Bam.
Luna and Bam Bam, Ultimate. Sherry and whoever.
Sherry and whoever for like Sherry and Macho.
You know
Sherry
what I
and Sean.
love? Sherry and DiBiase. That was a great
Sherry
one.
and DiBiase. Sherry with every
Scary
Sherry with
Sherry.
anyone it works. Like what a pro.
Yeah.
Brie and Daniel Bryan.
Brie and Daniel Bryan, yeah.
But Miz and Maurice, man, like they have such insane chemistry.
Hunter
with
and
each other.
Steph.
Oh, for sure.
No, they're fantastic. So, I mean, this is interesting how they're doing this. Edge gets jumped by The Miz. We'll see if this is leading to eventually a tag match. Now, they're going to have a singles match at the pay-per-view. I wonder if Beth Phoenix gets involved here.
Interesting. I want to say yes because she's not on the NXT announce team anymore, right?
No.
Liv Morgan cut a promo and she had like the recap of like a weird bit they did over.
Okay, what did you think of it? I want to know what you thought of it.
I thought it was really honestly like they tried for me, but after about 3 seconds, I was like, this is stupid. Like wrestlers for some reason. When they portray them as that non-spatially aware, drives me insane, especially at this point in the history of pro wrestling. You know, when they're like, yo, those guys around the ring are telling me to look behind me, but I'm not going to look behind me.
And whose perspective was it shot in, right?
The ring perv.
The only thing was missing was like a Ken Burns type, shot. That's the only thing that was missing to add the icing on the cake here. It was shot in like first person perspective at one point, and then it like cut, and you were like watching it from the ring. Bizarre. I was not a fan of that sketch, and I'm a big fan of Liv's. I like Liv.
I like Liv too. Oh, somebody. Okay, Johnny brought up a great point in the chat room as far as WWE couples go.
Yeah,
Edge and Lita. Holy shit.
Yeah. Here's one from Lenny. Right, Lenny in our Twitch chat on the F4W Twitch. He writes, Savage Liz, Sherry Sean, Hunter Steph, Edge Lita, Rusev Lana. That's his list. All great.
Okay.
All great.
And then your main event was WWE Champ WWE Champ Big E and Bobby Lashley defeating Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens in a 14-minute match. I enjoyed this. I like the team of Big E and Bobby Lashley. I do enjoy the team of Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, and it definitely has that Jericho feel to it. What do you think?
In what way?
In the way that Kevin Owens is destined to always turn on his friends.
Oh, yeah. That is interesting, actually. I like that. I like this team. Yeah, I like this team. I like what they did here. I'm looking forward to the Fatal 4-Way, which I'll say this is the first Raw like main event that I've been really into seeing. I think these four guys have been working really hard, especially Bobby Lashley is working tremendously hard, and he got over organically as a babyface. And I think it all started with his run as the champion. I think people really like seeing him with the title belt. He looked like a world champion.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's part of it, right? And not that Big E doesn't look like a world champion. I think Big E's doing fantastic. But I think for someone like Bobby Lashley that had a really bad start when he came back. Because do you remember when the story was that he was going to come back and feud with Brock Lesnar, and we were going to get that match. And I was really looking forward to that because everyone I spoke to, like, oh no, this is definitely going to finally. They wanted to do that Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar thing years ago. Like when they first saw Bobby Lashley. Oh yeah. There was always that weird comparison with Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar leaves, Bobby Lashley comes in, big jacked up dude, big powerhouse, has an impressive look. You stop and you look, you stop and stare, and he had a first run that fizzled out. He left. Very similar to Brock. He didn't want to freaking do the schedule. He was in one of the biggest main events in WrestleMania history with the Trump stuff where he shaved Vince's head. Oh, and now he comes back. They put him in that ass thing, right? His thing was like his glutes were great, right? Isn't that his thing? Wasn't that his gimmick that he had a good ass?
Well, you mean on this run?
No. When he first came back to WWE.
Like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he came back as a babyface, and he did. All I remember is the sister thing, and then the Bizarro boot camp thing he did with Sami Zayn.
Wait a minute, the sister thing, right? He did the sister thing. What was the sister thing?
And then, like all his sisters came out to talk about how nice he was, or some shit like that. And then
I don't remember that.
And then, or whatever it was. And then he was part of the cuck angle, I think, with Lana and Rusev.
He was in the cuck angle, but he was also with oh God, he did the butt stuff. Didn't he?
So
with
weird.
Leo Rush, didn't he come out and like strut his ass?
Was this a dream you had?
Is this a dream? Did I make this whole thing up?
Did you go to sleep one night? With
He
your
did the ass thing with Leo Rush. There you go,
he did
Mr.
the ass
NXT.
thing, okay.
He did the ass thing. I did not have a sexual fantasy about Bobby Lashley just strutting his ass.
You mean
it really
you didn't
happened?
get into your full sleeping gown with your Scrooge hat,
night-
go to sleep one night,
Little
and then
candle?
dream of little candle and dream of Bobby Lashley wiggling his butt at you, like that episode of The Simpsons where Homer sees Flanders in the ski suit and his ass is out there.
Stupid sexy Flanders.
Yeah, stupid.
Do you know that's forever in my head? That is forever in my head. And you know which one? When he takes Bart to the mill, to the factory to toughen him up.
Yes.
And it's a gay. It's a gay like refinery.
Oh yeah.
Metal refinery.
We work hard
fantastic.
and play hard. Yeah,
we work hard and play hard. That's the best one. Fantastic episode. No, Bobby. So he didn't really come in there. He didn't really come into the company with like this hot, I'm a dominant world champion. He came in as like, I'm gonna, whatever he did. And now we're finally seeing that whole MVP thing, that the team that he had put together. I thought that thing should have stuck together. I don't think they should have broken him up at all.
Yeah, that's a little bizarre. But you know what? This Bobby Lashley, I think, is the best version of Bobby Lashley. And he's in the world title picture, and I think the guy deserves to be. And I also like him coming out in like kind of like a little bit of like the thuggish suits, with MVP.
Yeah, I love it. MVP did the whole thing, man. They were doing the whole mob thing, right? It was like a little bit of like a whole mafia. It's like a crew together. They did fantastic with the jackets and everything, with the suits. I thought it was done really, really well. And now we got this final version of Bobby Lashley, and I think it's working out fantastically. I'm very into it.
So moving on, before we move on, we got a $4.99 super chat from EMC4K. Thank you very much. Fellow New Yorker and big fan. What are your thoughts on the Owen having the potential to be the North American G1? I love that.
I think that would be fantastic. That's actually, I never even thought of it that way, and just thinking about it like that, I think that's great. It has a lot of potential, man, and you could bring a lot of outside people in.
My God, that completely blew my mind. I didn't think about that. Like yourself, I didn't think about that either. I want to eat that up for breakfast. Imagine the sociology that's going to go into those matches.
The sociology in all those matches are going to be fantastic.
Oh, so good.
There you go. Hold on. Let me see if he's giving us the finger again, our producer. Oh, there he is. Yeah, he's giving us the finger. I can't believe he said that last week. Who did he say he has great sociology instead of psychology?
Adam Page and
Bryan Danielson had the best sociology I've ever seen in a pro wrestling match. Yeah.
It's phenomenal. It's not going to go away at least for another couple of weeks, MG.
No. It's constantly going to be there.
Do you want to do NXT or do you want to do AEW?
Let's do a quick one with NXT.
So, Tommaso Ciampa challenges Bron Breakker. They're going to get a title match at New Year's Evil. I think this is where Bron takes it. You're going to usher in the new year with NXT 2.0, right?
Yeah. I would say that he shouldn't lose. I don't know if maybe they'll do something, but what do you do with Ciampa after this? He loses to Bron Breakker. Now you're officially in this new era where he's going to defend it to a lot of those other guys, the newer guys. What do you do with Tommaso Ciampa now?
Smackdown.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I mean, they need baby faces.
Smackdown, or you know what I'd like to see? I think you'll agree with me on this because we've never thought about this.
Okay.
Ciampa, Finn Balor feud.
Okay, cool with that. Love that.
Right? Super
Love
cool
that. Yeah.
They can take turns jumping on each other's tummies.
Is that how it works?
That's how it works. It's the move, right? That's the move you hate. You got Raquel Gonzalez beating Dakota Kai in a street fight. This feud has kind of fell off for me a little bit.
Yeah, me too. I'm having trouble getting into some of these.
Yeah, you have AJ confronts Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller took out Johnny Gargano, of course. I think they're putting a lot of money into Grayson Waller, right? You think he's going to be one of their projects?
I think so. I mean, he's getting a lot of time.
Mm.
You know, I think all these guys are big projects for them and trying to figure out. And then you had Riddle also, right? On the show?
Riddle hanging out with MSK, which makes sense because MSK have been alluding to their rampant drug use every week on NXT.
Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, that's what they're doing. Which I think is kind of, it's like, I'm not saying it's neat. I don't endorse rampant drug use, but I think it's kind of funny.
What are they saying?
Yeah, they keep talking about their own special treats that they're running
420,
out of treats
bro.
and
Are they
stuff
doing
like
one
that.
of those?
Yeah, they're doing 420, dude. Real old school, early 90s, early 2000s shit.
Yeah.
So Riddle's on there. It's kind of interesting. How do you feel about main roster guys showing up on NXT again?
So this week, I mean, they were going up against football, right? Which they normally don't. I don't know. I would prefer them not to, and that was always the plan. Like, you don't really want to do this too often, but I guess when you fear that the ratings are going to plummet, you want to bring in as much as you can. I think they did shy of 600,000, which is not terrible for them. But you know, you're putting Styles on, you're putting Riddle on, and that's all they're doing. I don't know.
All right. Fair enough. Io Shirai defeated Elektra Lopez, and then you had Pete Dunne defeating Tony D'Angelo. By default, he has to be our favorite guy on NXT.
Pete Dunne took a bad suplex, huh? Did you see that? Right on his neck. Didn't look good at all.
I like Tony D'Angelo. Every time I watched an interesting Sopranos this week that I always forget. But,
which one?
And I kept quoting it in the house. The one where Artie tells Tony he's in love with Andrea.
Oh
Adriana.
My God. It's so uncomfortable, right?
It's so uncomfortable because she quits and he's like, oh, you know, you're the best hostess I ever had. And then he does this whole thing with Christopher and then tells Tony, like, I'm in love with her.
Yeah, because he's like, you piece of shit. You took her away from me. She was the best hostess I ever had.
Yeah. And then what did Christopher grabbed her and put a fork to his eye and was like, how about you say that with one eye? So ridiculous. Tony D'Angelo reminds me of every episode of The Sopranos.
Fantastic.
He's like a side guy.
I loved Christopher's idiot friends.
Oh my God, yeah.
One was dumber than the next. Every single one of them. There was not one normal friend that he had.
Mm-hmm. All the side guys, all of Christopher's guys, all the side guys that pop in and out. You know, even Furio kind of took like a backstage, like a back end bit at some point.
You know what was really? Remember when he ran he ran his shady broker firm.
Oh my God.
Okay. And I have to tell you though, like, people think it's a movie. So early 2000s, especially here in the Northeast, there were so many shady lending firms that opened up.
Oh, for sure.
And there was everybody in my town, Rich, everybody in Bayside worked for one company that was essentially a scam. And what they would do is they were like a loan company. So they would cold call poor neighborhoods with like decrepit homes. And they would lock these people in to like $25,000 loans for home repair that they would do the repair. So the repair would actually cost like $15,000. And they would mark it up by like $10K, and then they would charge like 30% interest. That's all New York was in the early 2000s. And then people wonder why the economy collapsed and nobody could pay their bills.
Friggin' nuts, man. Let's see. Let's move on here. So next week, you're getting the contract signing for the unification match between North American champion Carmelo Hayes and Cruiserweight champion Roderick Strong, hosted by Wade Barrett.
All right, fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Let's see what else we got. That's the perfect answer for that.
All right.
Dexter Lumis versus Grayson Waller. Cool. NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan, JC Jane versus Raquel Gonzalez and Cora Jade.
They're the biggest act. Match. They're the biggest act on the card. Toxic Attraction.
I wonder why.
Yeah, biggest act.
Very good.
Right.
So,
yeah.
AEW, you want to move on?
Let's go.
AEW, the Owen Hart Cup announced last night. They announced this on Dynamite. Men's and women's tournaments take place in May. Finals will be at Double or Nothing with Martha Hart presenting the cup to the winners.
Very cool. This is going to be, this is
enjoy.
a big deal. I think for like wrestling fans, this is a big deal because you haven't seen anything with Owen. WWE essentially, that relationship is not good. And for AEW to put this on, I think that's a treat. You know, I think people that are pro wrestling fans, I think especially if you grew up in that era, if you grew up in that 90s boom, you're going to very much appreciate this.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's gonna be cool. I like the whole G1 thing. That's like a just in case. Like imagine. I kind of like really thought about it and popped. It's like they got the rights to like Owen's legacy, you know, and like how cool is that, you know? And they were showing like the international clips because you can't show the WWE stuff, obviously, you know. So they're showing the international clips, and it's like, you're seeing like Owen versus Liger, how much everybody loves him, the testimonials from like the AEW guys about how like they were influenced by Owen. I think this is such a cool thing, and I think it'll bring guys like Brett, I think, back on TV in a weird way, right? Like
I
he's
think
got
Brett could appear, right? Because, well, I don't know if Martha and Brett are talking. I don't know what the relationship there is, but Brett's been on AEW TV. I think people forget.
He presented the belt, right?
Yeah, he presented the title belt. So he's been on TV.
Pretty cool. Hold on one second here. Let's see. This is kind of an interesting thing. So last night you were mentioning the commercials during Dynamite.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody noticed that? Like some of those commercials were like bizarre commercials, like companies that you wouldn't see on a primetime show. I have to find out more information about that on why we got those commercials this week compared to other weeks, because we got that wine commercial, we got that like internet, the hardware and warranty commercial, and there was another like that weird ring, that digital ring commercial we got. Yeah,
the digital ring was pretty nuts. We got like a bunch of weird shit. You know, my theory is that, you know, brands have to plan their ads, right? So why put money into ads on Dynamite where there's tons of holiday stuff going on network television? Yeah. You know, maybe that's why we got the weird shit.
I don't know. I'm going to find out. I'm going to ask a friend of mine, because I thought it was interesting that we got some different tier ads on Dynamite, and I don't want to speculate what it means or what it could mean. I want to find out. But we were talking in the group chat on historically, you know, what it kind of means if you put those ads on. I mean, listen, they could have a tremendous inventory right now, or they could have a very small inventory. Maybe they have a better rate during this time.
True.
You know, a lot of that comes into play. This is all, by the way, this is stuff that like I'm into because I'm in ad sales, you know, part of something that I'm connected with. So I found it interesting. That's all.
Last night we also had Dynamite Holiday Bash.
Yeah, great show.
Great show. Great show. Like these, I try not to pay attention to like all the dum-dums on social media who are like, what's so great about this, dude?
Did people say that? I thought it was a really good show.
We got a couple of bums on our socials going like, what do you mean this is great? And like, yo, it's great.
I enjoyed it. It was a fun show to watch for 2 hours.
If you're happy with yourself and you're happy with your life and you enjoy experiencing joy, last night's show, pretty fantastic.
Yeah,
I loved it. I ate it all up, man. You had Adam Cole beating Orange Cassidy, the best friends in the Bucks brawl at the beginning, take him away from the ring. All of a sudden, Bobby Fish shows up.
Yep.
Right?
He distracts the ref.
We know what's coming next, right? A giant box lowers into the middle of the ring.
That's all I wanted. So I think a couple of weeks ago, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago maybe, like a friend of ours was like, hey, Kyle O'Reilly's coming, just sit on it, you know? So I was like, all right, we'll sit on it.
Like Fonzie, he was like, sit on it.
Just sit on it. So we're like, all right, whatever. And like, listen, a lot of it, you could assume that's where he was going to. You know, I think, you know, someone like him and Johnny Gargano, I don't want to speculate on because I don't really know much about that. But Kyle O'Reilly, I was very early on told that this is kind of where it's going. You kind of got that thing last week where Adam Cole said, I have a surprise for you guys for the Bucks. You know, they did play. Did they say on commentary that those two, that Cole and O'Reilly have did they allude that they feuded? Because I felt like they did.
I think that I think it's beautiful if that's the case, that they did that confrontation between Cole and O'Reilly, kind of carrying over that whole,
Okay, they
like,
did. Yeah.
You know, hey, dude, the last time I saw you, you tried to kill me. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But go ahead. I'm excited.
No, but did they say it? Because when I watched it, I was like, oh crap, they like the way that they were like kind of aggressive with each other a little bit. That's what it's read to me. But did they mention on commentary that they have feuded in the past?
They did the wrestling blanket term of these three men have a lot of history with
a lot
each
of
other.
history together. Yeah, okay.
You know,
Got it.
They did that thing. They didn't say, like, you know, these guys try to murder each other a couple of months ago.
Moida.
Moida.
So he comes out, the three of them stand in that ring, they look at the camera, and here come the Bucks, and they're like standing in the corner. They're like, what the hell? And the Bucks leave and they leave. So what's going on here?
Well, Cole was basically like, let's get out of here, fellas, you know, and then they jetted. So here's a couple of things. Before we get into like the possible future feuds that are going to happen, I have a question for you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Does WWE even care that they lost one of their top fan favorite acts of the last 6 years? Or does it not even register with corporate? There was an Undisputed chant on AEW television yesterday, dude. Like,
there was.
How crazy is that?
I would say there are many, many, many people that care that those guys are gone. But I don't. Listen, we've heard the rumors what they wanted to do with him, with Adam Cole, right?
Right.
We've heard those rumors. You know, whether or not it's 100% true, whether or not, you know, what it was going to, you know, on paper would have meant and what an execution it would mean, whether or not they would have shifted immediately due to the bad press that thing got. We know what they had planned for him. Was Adam Cole or Kyle O'Reilly or Bobby Fish going to become major players on the main roster? Bobby Fish is in his 40s. Kyle O'Reilly is very young, but is that the look that they're looking for? Adam Cole, fantastic, young, you know, early 30s, over. Total
Totally
package,
over.
really, but is he the size that they want to? You know, these are all questions that you put in the air. I don't know what the answer is to that. I don't know how they could have done. You know, it's kind of hard because they change perspective so quickly over there. But you know, if you're those three guys and you really want to continue this act and you want it to work and you want to kind of have some sort of control over what you're doing, AEW is the best place to go. I think for Bobby Fish, AEW was going to be the place. I don't think Bobby Fish was going to get like, you know. They would have known what to do with him because he's such like a wrestler.
Yeah. Do you think Bobby Fish would have floundered if he stayed in NXT?
He would have halibut.
Do you think he would have halibuted?
I think he would have halibut. You know, like I love seeing those three together.
Absolutely.
Poor Roddy, you know.
He'll much like it was in NXT. I think he's going to be the last to join them in AEW.
He was the last to join him there, and he's going to be the last to join him in AEW. Listen, they're all those guys. They're such great workers. You know, the fact that, and I was thinking this, you know, you look at Bobby Fish and you look at Kyle O'Reilly and you look at Adam Page, right? Adam Cole. These guys had all the Adams, all the Pages and all the Adams. They had not an easy story in pro wrestling. They literally started from the bottom all the way to the bottom, and they went in these gradual steps. And
workhorses, man.
They are, and you don't really see that. I think wrestling has shifted a little bit more, where those guys are going to become less and less because now there's so many more options to get on TV quicker. But think about the careers those three. Add Roddy to the story too, right? Same exact thing.
Very storied. Yeah, very storied careers, right?
Independence, Ring of Honor, PWG, going to Japan, Ring of Honor again, and then going to NXT. Really becoming the guys in NXT. For 4 years. For 4 years, sure. They were the main act in NXT for, you know, those four. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. The 6 guys ran that whole, you know, every week. And
they really set the precedent.
They really did set the precedent, and they did something tremendous. I hope now, and I think this is going to be interesting, right? Now if they feud with the Bucks, who's that third guy for the Bucks?
Kenny Omega when he comes back, right?
You could do Kenny.
These crazy trios matches, dude.
By the way, did you notice how many times they said trios on Dynamite last night?
They kept saying trios
over and over and over again, especially during the main event. But the trios has been, we're getting ready for that trios title, obviously. Something that we've discussed, something that was discussed. I think Cody said it in an interview years ago that I gotta double check, but I'm almost I would bet on this, that he mentioned that a trios title may show up at the next Jericho cruise, but this is before the pandemic. So whatever, it already happened, that cruise, but it makes so much sense for that company to have a trios title that you could have in a main event positioning on a Rampage or a Dynamite some weeks when you don't want to put a singles match on there. You have an option because they've done a good job at telling you that this is a normal thing in this company where you have 3-on-3 matches. And
listen, man, like trios matches effing rock. I'm a big fan of trios matches. I'm a big fan of these like Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly. I can be a simpleton when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah.
And an Appleton. But I can be a simpleton. And these guys got cool music and they kick ass. And for me, at the end of the day, sometimes I'm easy. That's easy.
That's what you need.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what happens with them. We got Hangman Page and a Bryan Danielson promo. Hangman comes out, says he was disappointed he didn't get the win. He didn't get the clean win. They went an hour last week. Bryan Danielson wanted judges for the next match, which is January 5th. They announced the rematch.
Yeah.
Adam Page basically said, no, I'm going to beat you within that hour time limit. How nuts is that? Are you cool with them doing another hour longer?
So are they not doing the judges?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be straight up.
I got a little confused with that. With I don't know if anybody else got confused by it, but maybe I wasn't fully listening. But first of all, they're not doing it at Battle of the Belts, obviously, because it's an hour show. Yeah. So that's a lot of people assumed it was going to go to Battle of the Belts. It's not, because it's a 1 hour show. So they're doing it on Dynamite. They're going to go. I don't know if they'll go 60 minutes or not. I don't know how they'll do this, but. Here was the interesting part of this, that this was a takeaway, right? By default, Hangman won the title because he was the champion and it was a draw. He retained. I really liked that Danielson came out and was like, you didn't beat me. I should be the champion.
Right.
and I'm like, it's so absurd, right? Because like we know by like wrestling rules that's not how it works. And he knows that too. But he does have a point. If you're the champion and you couldn't cut it and you couldn't win the match, you should lose the title. And that's like his logic here. And it's like a bizarre logic, but it got me thinking. I was like, you know what? I've never heard that done like that before. There will be judges, by the way.
Okay, cool.
There will be judges.
And I love Bryan Danielson as a heel.
You know what? I was like, you know what? That's very witty how they did it. Because in reality, you looked at it, and the story that I see is that Daniel Bryan couldn't cut it. And that's like his thing. He can't cut it in these like high pressure matches because he has 2 draws in the company against 2 of the top guys, 2 world champions. So, but instead they flipped it and they're like, hey, but the heat on, obviously for the heat of the segment is like, you didn't beat me. You shouldn't be the champion. I should be the champion.
Is Bryan Danielson a kind of reverse Ric Flair in this situation?
Yeah.
In that Flair would always defend the belt and it would look like the good guy would win, but then Flair would always come out on top. Where Bryan Danielson, it's the opposite, where like he's the best. He's arguably the best wrestler on the roster, but can't get the job done.
I'm very interested by this. Yeah.
Let's see. We had a real quick squash match. Right after that, Wardlow beating the captain Shawn Dean, 4 power bombs.
4 power bombs. Crowd liked this a lot.
Yeah, I like Wardlow just like destroying dudes. That's a good.
I'm into that. But they are building him to be that monster for them.
I think they're building him to be an over monster because that Pinnacle breakup is the writing's on the wall.
Hey, where's Brian Cage?
Where is Brian Cage?
Where is Brian Cage? Why is this guy not on TV? There's a story here. And not that I know what the story is. No, I don't know what the story, but I mean, I find it crazy that this guy is not highlighted heavily.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Maybe
you get a guy that looks like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
you should be telling something. Listen, obviously there's more to this, but watching it, Wardlow is doing what Brian Cage should be doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the writing's on the wall for the Wardlow face turn, though.
You think it's happening?
Yeah, I think it's happening.
Time? Yeah.
The way they had there was a promo that MJF cut where he was with the Pinnacle, and he ragged on Wardlow. Wardlow was sitting down, and then the way they shot it was MJF was standing in Wardlow's way.
All right,
and
I'm
Wardlow
cool with
was
that.
behind him, so it's kind of interesting. I think they're being very subtle about it. Next up, you had the TBS Championship Tournament, the continuing TBS Championship Tournament for the women. Ruby Soho beating Nyla Rose with Vicky Guerrero. Fun match.
Yeah, very fun match. Dead Scream in the Twitch chat says there's an article about Brian Cage not being happy. I saw the same article. I saw Ivelisse, right?
Yeah, she wasn't happy either, right?
Yeah, I think there's a story here, and I get it.
Next up, you had Malachi Black defeating Griff Garrison with Brian Pillman Jr. I'm a big fan of both these guys. I love spooky badass Malachi Black, and I think Griff Garrison.
Not Ivelisse, Melissa Santos.
I think
I'm so sorry. It's because somebody asked me about Ivelisse in one of the questions, and I got very confused here.
All right,
Apologies.
Fair enough. Griff Garrison, I think it could be one of the futures of the company.
Griff Garrison, yeah, dude, he murdered him.
Oh, he killed him. Totally killed him, and he killed Brian Pillman too.
Yeah, he killed that guy, and by the way, that entrance is so impressive. That spooky entrance,
great.
I love it. I stop and I watch, and that's what it really comes down to.
I wanted Brody to come out, Brody King.
Melissa Santos. I can't believe I read that as Ivelisse. I'm an idiot.
Are you going to start punching yourself in the face?
I'm going to start punching myself in the face.
Headbang a lot, like headbutt a locker.
I also wanted to call him Nick Cage, and then Brian Cage. My brain. I'm telling you, it's the COVID brain.
I'm unhappy with my positioning in the company.
Dude, what was that movie again with the aliens again?
Which one?
The one that turns everything purple, and his wife became a blob with the sun.
The Color of Night? No, not. Is it The Color of Night?
It was based on a book.
The Color of Night, I think. Yeah, I think it's The Color of Night with Nick Cage. But
Color of Space. Yeah, Color of Space.
Color out of Space.
There you
Color
go.
Out of Space. That was based the movie.
It's a Lovecraft movie, right?
Yes, but this movie's based on a German movie of the same name, which is based on a Lovecraft thing.
Dude, I really enjoyed this stupid movie.
Did you watch it?
I did.
I got a question for you about this movie. When did you watch it? Is it fresh in your head?
I watched it like a year ago.
So when Nick Cage goes, it's a great movie. I highly recommend it. When Nick Cage goes nuts in that movie, when I watched it, to me, he was doing a Trump impression.
Was he? I gotta watch
that
now.
Watch it again.
You think that's what he channeled?
I think so. I think when he as the dad was really going off the rails because he was infected by like the galactic goop.
Yeah.
I think him at peak going off the rails, Nick Cage was doing a Trump impression.
I gotta watch that.
The way he was speaking and his mannerisms. Just like watch it.
Is this a movie that's liked?
I don't know. People who I know who've seen it love it.
Okay.
I'm also of the mindset that there's no such thing as a bad Nick Cage movie because
I love his oddball shit. Yeah.
Also, he's gonna be Dracula.
He's gonna be a vampire.
He's gonna be Dracula. No, Dracula.
The Dracula.
The Dracula. My buddy Alex messaged me this a couple of weeks ago. I almost did a backflip.
You know what I want to see? I want to see the Superman with him.
Do you really?
I really do.
I think that would have been the one that killed his career. To be honest,
I think that would have killed Superman.
You think it would have killed Superman?
Yeah, I think it would have killed Superman. But it was a Tim Burton thing. So how bad could it have been?
Yeah. Who knows? That's like a good what if there.
That is a good one.
Let's get back on track. So Malachi Black beat Griff Garrison. There's another misspelling in here by MG Geek, but I won't go into it. And then you had your main event.
Okay.
You ready?
No. Wait. I want to ask you. So you put out a tweet before this, and you said, something like, "How many boners will you have if he comes out as Surfer Sting?"
I took a poll.
Yeah.
about face paint and early in the night. Will CM Punk be wearing face paint early in the night? So you have your intros, FTR, MJF come out, right? Sting comes out with beautiful CM Punk straight edge makeup, all over his face.
And he has a CM Punk shirt.
And the CM Punk shirt. Phenomenal. Darby comes out. Same kind of tribute with the pink and black, Sting makeup, right? On half his face. Big pause. Friggin' Punk comes out in Surfer Sting makeup and very specific tights.
He came out in the Sting tights.
Yes.
90. What was it? It was late 96, before the Crow stuff Sting.
CM Punk's design was an homage to 96's Nothing for Sure Sting.
Wait a minute, really? Was that it?
Yes.
You know what? Pat on the back for me that I remembered that's a 96 version of it. So what is that version? What does that mean?
Pat on the back for MG Geek because he's the one who figured it out.
Really?
Do you want? Can we bring him on for 2 seconds to see how he figured it out?
Yeah, MG, pot this up. Come on. Oh my God.
Our producer.
This was his chance. This is
Mr.
the guy
Gonzo.
Producing the show.
This was his chance.
This was his freaking chance, and I can't hear him at all. And I hear, look.
Oh my God!
God, come on! How does he not know how to work the mic?
No, I set him up with a home run right there. My God!
And he's potted up.
All right. Anyway,
all right, I'm muting him. So what was it?
It was 96's Nothing for Sure Sting.
What is Nothing for Sure?
I think it was the one after Sting leaves town or some shit like that.
Oh, is this when they didn't know if he was what side he was on?
I think so. It was 96, so that makes a lot of sense. My knowledge of this is very murky. Brandon in the chat says that was the Clash of Champions Sting versus Flair tights, which took place, and then says that also took place in North Carolina because they were in Greensboro last night. Got
it. He looked great. I thought CM Punk looked great.
I lost my shit. CM Punk with the makeup. What a wild match. What an awesome main event.
I can't believe MG Geek just dropped the ball on this segment. His mic's been potted up this entire show. We just asked him. We set him up. I'm like, hey, dude, come on board. That was it.
You know why? You know why?
Why?
You know why? You know why? He was watching the show, and he was like, I don't appreciate these guys' sociology in this match.
He doesn't care for the sociology of that match. Oh, so go ahead. Sorry, Rich.
What a wild main event.
Yeah.
How much fun was it?
Dude, I thought it was great. I thought it was a wacky, it was a really wild match. Sting looks I still think it's really cool to see Sting out there. I think they use him properly. He's never the prime focus. I think he's just there and people want to see him there. That I really like, that people are enjoying it. It doesn't feel okay, so here we go, Lenny with this. It was immediately after Fall Brawl 96 when Sting proved his loyalty. But he was done with the company, and he just was done in general. He left after cutting that promo on Nitro the night after dropping the line, the only thing for sure is nothing is for sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Great stuff.
Thank you, Lenny. Thank you, Lenny Banner on Twitch.
Yeah, great
Do you
job.
want to replace MG Geek as our producer?
Yeah, Lenny, you're the producer from now on. MG, you could go in the chat and be Lenny from now on, all right? We're swapping roles.
Little switcheroo right there.
Yeah, a little switcheroo. Yeah, dude, I thought it looked great. I thought CM Punk, CM Punk coming out in the Sting outfit, you would never see that in WWE. That wouldn't happen.
No.
That was another one of those moments. You're like, okay, this is something that is very unique to this company, that they don't give a shit about stuff like that.
3 straight edge dudes living their dream. And you know what? Sting's 63. Sorry, Sting's 63.
63.
He's
he looked great, dude. He does everything that he can.
Yeah. It works, man. It works. The crowd loves it too. That North Carolina crowd, man, they love the Stinger.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was great.
Let's see. Rampage this Saturday on Christmas at 9 p.m., right? Or 8 p.m.?
I don't know.
9 p.m. Let's say 9 p.m. Jungle Boy versus Isaiah Cassidy. Hook versus Bear Bronson. Hook
Bear
the savior
Bronson.
of wrestling.
You know what? 2 Long Island boys going at it again. Bear Bronson and Hook.
Chris Statlander versus Layla Hirsch. And I'm looking forward to this match. The main event, TNT Championship match, Sammy Guevara versus Cody Rhodes. I think Cody Rhodes will be the ultimate heel in this match.
Oh, in North Carolina?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, it's his hometown, right? I mean, not really, but really. Not really, but it is.
Not really, but it is. But he also has been getting booed in Georgia whenever they go to Georgia. And
Did they get booed in
hometown?
Okay. That's his real hometown, yeah. I consider him like a Carolina guy because of his father's legacy in the territory. But, all right, cool. Very different styles, I'll tell you, between Sammy and Cody. I'm curious to see how this works out.
In New Year's Smash for AEW Dynamite, Wednesday, 12/29, Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz versus Daniel Garcia and 2.0. That's going to be great. TBS Championship Tournament, Jade Cargill versus Thunder Rosa. Boom, that's going to be awesome. Jim Ross returns.
Yep.
This is taking place in Jacksonville.
And wait a minute. And here we go. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm excited for this. What happened?
Oh, I thought you were saying go ahead, MG Geeks on the line.
No, he's banned. He can't come back.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. And Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish versus Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends.
Yeah, very cool.
Wow. Undisputed versus the Besties.
So what do you call them?
You know what? If they all join, because you know what? Like, will Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish fill the hole that the missing Good Brothers have left? Because, you know, Carl Anderson and Gallows have not been on AEW in like a while.
Yeah.
So maybe you get the Undisputed Elite.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know how you do this. I think I'm very excited for that. Regardless, I think this is really cool to see. I don't know what you call them. I don't think they could call them Undisputed anything. What was the rumored name when they went to NXT? Honor Club, right? Wasn't that the rumored name that they wanted, you know?
Yeah.
Something of like they wanted to go with that. It is wild how Ring of Honor is still like this is like the legacy of Ring of Honor now.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. And it's like classic Ring of Honor too, right?
Yeah.
And then you're getting the first show in the new year. The only match announced, and this is their TBS debut, which they were talking about all night. Not going to be on TNT anymore. Dynamite will be on TBS in the new year on Wednesday, January 5th. The rematch between Hangman Page and Bryan Danielson.
Yep. When do we get the Briscoes?
I thought they were going to come out last night, but you know what? I thought Briscoes and Brody were going to come out. Kyle O'Reilly was a good surprise.
Oh, because, yeah, he did cut that promo saying that he has a friend, right? Or something like that.
Yes. So who knows? I think it's going to be a lot of fun going into 2022 to see what happens. Tony Khan has built a great sandbox and it's continuing to grow. He's doing the wrestling version of SimCity right now.
That's a great way of putting it.
You know, just like he's perfectly mapping out all these little things. And I think, you know, it's funny. It's like a lot of people on socials and like forums who complain about long-term stuff. This is very long-term stuff if you think about it, you know, because a lot of these guys are going to move up the card in years to come. Griff Garrison, Hook, you know, like your new AEW guys, right? Yeah. Britt Baker cut a phenomenal promo yesterday.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. And you know how she's one of the pillars, how she built the women's division. She was wearing a Herbie the Dentist shirt, which was pretty great to pop my wife. And Hermie, from Rudolph. And you know what? Like all signs point to go for all the undercard guys in this company.
Yeah. Very cool stuff. The other thing, that title match is in Newark.
Ooh.
So
what do you think?
They're going to have 10,000 people in that building. I know it's outfitted to like 9,100, but I think if they announce a couple more of these matches, they'll be 10,000 or very close to 10,000. And I hate that building. I don't like going to Newark because it's not convenient for us. But
it's so not.
It's very not. It's not convenient at all. But they're running that Newark show, and then they got that unique Atlantic City show, which I think is going to probably sell out because that's a very unique venue too. But I would expect some bigger matches on that Newark show.
Yeah, part of me kind of wants to go to the Atlantic City show.
Me too, actually, because that's a really cool venue.
Ooh, maybe
you want to? It's February, right?
Yeah. I'll drive us to AC, bud.
You wanna?
Yeah.
We could even stay there.
I know. It's a 3-hour. It's a pretty relatively easy 3-hour drive for us.
We get like an Airbnb. It's in February. So
hell yeah.
We could do that. Why don't we do that?
Hot tub, dude.
Oh, Lou, Tubmen. We could do Tubmen from Atlantic City.
We can do Tubmen, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
get nuts.
All right, guys, submit your questions in the chat room. We got a little bit of time here. We're not on a time crunch because I'm stuck at home. I'm not going to work, and Rich is at home, so we don't have to get anywhere. So submit your questions in the chat. We'll do our best to answer them. If you want them answered first, hit the super chat button and fund us, whatever you want to fund us, and we'll move you to the top of the queue. Rich, you want to start the questions?
Absolutely. Joe Pearl wants to know if he can come to Atlantic City too.
He wants to come too? Yeah, of course Joe Pearl could come.
Friend of the show, Joel Pearl.
Yeah, Joel Merle.
Congratulations, Joel Pearl, on the announcement of your.
He's expecting.
He's expecting. Very awesome.
Yeah. Very, very cool. He just announced that publicly, right?
He announced that publicly.
Okay, we didn't leak anything. Perfect.
No, we didn't leak anything. EMC4K asks, is the Hangman rematch enough to sell out Newark? Just on that alone.
I know that the tickets are moving very well. I actually had the ticket here open through WrestleTix. If you go to WrestleTix on Twitter, you can find them. I think it'll probably. It's like, what do you consider a sellout? Is it a sellout as far as like tickets available? I think they'll come very close to tickets available. But if they want to open up some more seats, they're gonna probably pump it a little bit more. But they also want it to be a huge show because it's the first show on TBS. They want this to be a major success on TBS. They don't want the numbers to be low. And we're also getting the West Coast feedback at the same time. So, it's West Coast feed's going to prime time.
Okay.
So there's a couple scenarios here of positioning. We're not getting a 5 p.m. West Coast show. We're getting an 8 p.m. West Coast show. We're getting the debut. We're getting a major title match. So if they should be in the million range.
All right.
Yeah.
That's cool. We got a $5 super chat from Mark L, longtime listener. Morning, my Madman dads. Christmas came early. I remember telling you boys about our IVF process, and attempt number 2 worked. We are preggo. Congrats.
Yes, good for you, Mark.
All our babies having babies. I love
All our babies are having babies. Look at that. I'm so proud of everybody.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, serious congratulations.
Great job, Mark.
Our buddy, I'm gonna throw this on the screen. Boom. Love that avatar picture. Josh Coleman, our favorite Jersh. Does Andrew know who Grogu is?
Yes, you know how I know who Grogu is? Yesterday, Josh called me. He FaceTimed me. Okay? And he was talking to my son. He was talking to Hunter.
Oh,
and there was something, I think Josh had like a Baby Yoda shirt or something. And my son Hunter goes, that's not Baby Yoda. You know that? And I'm like, what? He goes, that's not Baby Yoda. That's Grogu. I'm like, awesome. Who the hell is Grogu? He goes, no, his name is Grogu. That's not Baby Yoda. I'm like, how do you know that? I was taught something by a 4-year-old today, and Josh thought it was the funniest thing.
I think it's pretty great that your son's a bigger Star Wars fan than you probably will ever be.
And you know what he was doing? Josh was showing my son his limited edition Boba Fett toy.
Oh,
they were having this whole conversation about Boba Fett, and that's how this whole thing happened.
Heck, say that again?
Boba Fett.
One more time?
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
What's his name?
Bubba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Bubba Fett.
I actually was calling him Bobo Fat for the longest time. I hate Star Wars. Don't get me started. I'm getting PTSD from my childhood again. My father forcing me to watch Star Wars for the 18th time on a Sunday.
Kicking your door and making you watch Star Wars.
I can't do it.
For myself and a lot of people I know, and I feel like a lot of our listeners, Star Wars equals Christmas.
I can't do it. Too many bad memories.
Let's move on before your head explodes. This is from OK Johnny. Who is the best rival for Roman Reigns in 2022? Brock, Drew, or Big E?
I think it's going to lead to Drew. Right? It should be Drew. I mean, how many more years are you going to do Brock and him? And Big E's on the other side. Unless you move him, he drops the title. But they need Big E. They need a big baby face, world champion.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say. I would definitely say it would probably go to Drew.
I agree with you, but I would love for it to be Big E.
Me too. I'd love to see that.
Right. We got another super chat from Cadillac Carson.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that name. Who should win, Punk or MJF? I feel like MJF to set him up for the next title shot and possible title reign. That's a good question. You know what? Like, they can't do the draw because that's happened with debts like Bryan Danielson's thing, right?
Yeah, then they can't do the draw.
What I think is going to happen is Punk wins, MJF gets screwed by Wardlow, and then the next feud is Wardlow MJF.
You think Punk wins?
Yeah.
See, I think if Punk loses, the heat on MJF is going to be tremendous. You know, I don't know. But here's the good thing, right? I don't want to see either one of them lose. I also want to see both of them win. So I think that's a, you know, like, I like going into a wrestling match like that because then I really enjoy the match and I'm not concerned about the finish because I'm fine with either or, depending on how it's done.
Let's see what we got here. This is from YouTube. Nothing to look here. Does Lesnar wins the title?
I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not. I would be shocked actually because the other thing I've been told is that they like the Roman is going up in the rankings as longest champion. They're very much liking that because it's kind of telling the story of, you know, his positioning in the company's history now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You think they're trying to Bruno him?
You know what? If they could erase that Bruno title reign, they would love to freaking do that. Because they're never going to have a guy that beats Bruno.
The most impossible title reign of all time.
I think Hogan is number 2, right?
Is it Hogan or is it
I think it's Hogan.
Not Hercules Hernandez. Who am I thinking of? Pedro Morales?
Pedro longest. Okay, let's see.
Might be wrong. You might be top 10.
Longest WWE title reign. Let's see. I had this. Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Hogan is number 10, 364.
Is this combined or is this
straight?
Straight. Okay.
Macho 371, and that's tied with AJ Styles at 371.
Interesting.
Styles hit the title for 371 days. John Cena 381. CM Punk 434. Pedro. Here we go. Pedro Morales 1,000.
Right? Okay.
1,027. Bruno 1,237. Hulk Hogan 1,474. Ooh, this photo of Hogan is great. He's in the white trunks and he has the the Hogan 86 belt.
Ooh.
Oh, you know what? I'm saving this. I'm putting this in my folder.
You said that real gross.
Oh, yeah. Bob Backlund 2,135 days and Bruno Sammartino 2,803 days.
Jeez, that's
now this is an outdated. Now this is an outdated one without the 400 and something day Roman Reigns title reign, but you're never going to do 2,800 days.
Yeah.
If they could erase the Backlund, if they could take Backlund, Bruno, Hogan out of this, well, they don't want to ever get Hogan out. You know what they could do? WWE. Forget about WWF. Call it WWE, and you could start over. Then you would get. Yeah. Then I think you have it already. If you just do WWE, I believe he's the longest reigning world champion, right?
Yeah, he might be.
He passed CM Punk, right? How many days is he at?
Well, didn't they have a thing where Brock passed CM Punk just to spite CM Punk?
Who passed CM Punk? Brock?
Yeah.
How old is this? Maybe. Yeah, they did do that, I think. This is probably an older list, but I guess you could do it if you just call it WWE.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, they're coming for you.
Yep. Hang on a sec.
Hang on.
It's the fuzz.
Let's mute it. There we go. Okay. Now it's back.
I think they're coming for you now.
Oh, shit. Okay.
All right. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
This is from Kuro Miteriku. What if the Bucks reconcile with Hangman and now he's their third man?
Yeah, that'd be cool. But, I don't know how long they're going to go with that because he's not coming back till when? February, March?
Hangman.
Oh, Hangman. I'm sorry. They could do that. I don't know.
Do you hear that?
Do you turn? I got Kenny on my mind. Do you turn the Bucks face now?
Between 86 Hogan and Kenny, are you going to be okay the rest of the afternoon?
No, I'm just saving photos of 86 Hogan now. The white trunks.
Those white. Who needs yellow trunks? You got these white trunks. So, what do you think?
I don't want to see that. I want to keep Hangman away from them.
This is from OK Johnny. What should they call the new Undisputed Era? I'm seeing some people calling them the Ultimate Elite, and I'm not sure how to feel about that.
Isn't the Ultimate Elite with all of them in it?
That would make sense, right?
Yeah. Come up with a name. Give me a name right now. Fast. Go.
There you go.
That's it. Okay.
I think they should be called the Gonzo Elite.
The Gonzo Elite. Okay.
What do you think?
The Baby Boys.
The Baby Boys? I can see that working.
The Baby Boys.
Maybe that's rattling in the back of Tony Khan's mind. He's like, I've always wanted to make a faction called the Baby Boys. You guys down for that? All you guys together? you
know
could
what?
be the Baby Boys.
You know what? I hope Tony's thinking that.
Listen, if he's listening, you can have that idea for free, Tony Khan. Let's see what we got here. This is from Jonathan. Whatever happened to these John Cena Broken Skull Sessions episode? Will it ever air?
Oh, that's a great question. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he got drunk and he malfunctioned.
Who?
Cena on the thing. Yeah. I don't know. But that thing was supposed to air a while ago, no?
Yeah. I think they advertised it like it's more than 2 months, right?
I think so. I don't know what happened. That's a great question. I'll find out.
Okay. This is from Raj on Twitter. There's a rumor that WWE is thinking to bring back Bray. Is that true?
I mean, I haven't heard anything specific about Bray in a while. I would... In what role?
As just like the king of spookies.
I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but I would be very surprised if that happened. Let me just say that.
Okay. Do you think
I'd be very surprised.
Do you think WWE is done with spooky guys?
No, they love that kind of shit. They love the mysticism and the occult, and they like anything scary and non-traditional. They need to fill that role. You always need a spooky guy. Who's a spooky guy now?
I couldn't even tell you.
By the way, they got rid of all of them.
Finn Balor?
Karrion Kross, gone.
Mm-hmm.
Aleister Black, gone. Undertaker's not there.
Bray
Wyatt, gone. Alexa's no longer spooky.
Mm-hmm.
No more spooky people.
No more spooky people. This is from Brandon. What do you think is next for Keith Lee?
I would say an AEW run would be fantastic for him. But, here's the other problem. That roster is so freaking big now. And you have... And by the way, think about who's missing from this roster right now for AEW, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously the conversation is that they've... By the way, my comments over the weekend had to do with the Sportico and the Fox News articles that came out. They were hitting AEW, in every possible way. One was about being a crappy lead-in for NHL. And really, it's the NHL season without the playoffs. I don't know what was expected at 10 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing. It's on at 10 p.m. on some nights there. So, listen, I have a theory as to why those articles came out the way that they did and how that they did and what words were used. Obviously, it was to get a reaction out of Tony, and they got a reaction out of Tony. But you also are missing Jon Moxley, and you're missing Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
So you bring those two back, this roster really fills up. You add a Keith Lee to it. Okay, but who else are you going to bring in?
Do you do Karrion Kross?
Do you do Karrion Kross? Do you do Bray Wyatt? Do you think about bringing Johnny Gargano? Do you think about Braun Strowman? These are big questions that they're going to have to think about as to, okay, what does this do to the current roster and the plans that we have put in place? I think it's a far more difficult decision to make than just being like, well, I want to sign this guy. WWE released them. Every addition you make changes something in the plans. Yeah.
Well, how about this? Throw this on for size. What about the third man in the Bucks trio is Gargano?
Kevin Owens would have been fantastic, right?
He really would have.
That would have been such fantastic. A natural fit. And now you have the 3-on-3 thing. That would have fit in perfectly. And we saw that. We saw Tony Khan in that CBS Sports interview where he was asked about MJF, also asked about Kevin Owens, and he said he really wanted Kevin Owens.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was interesting that he said it the way he did.
Would you pop? Remember what they did with Abyss, and he was Ray Park, not Ray Park.
Ray Traylor, the big boss man.
When he came out in his like unmasked persona, and he was like a lawyer.
Yeah.
Remember that? What if they do that with Keith Lee? What if Keith Lee has been working on a gimmick where he's a New York lawyer called Keith Leibowitz, and he shows up in a suit with a briefcase?
Keith Leibowitz. I like Keith Leibowitz.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's a fantastic gimmick, dude.
I would love to see that.
Mwah. Keith Leibowitz Esquire. Love it.
Ah, fantastic. Let's see what we got here. We got a few more questions, and then we're going to take it on home.
Yeah.
This is from Pratik. Do you guys see Harland on the main roster?
I mean, I think that's the plan with him, right? I get vibes of Batista when he was what was he, the freaking Deacon?
Yeah,
the hell was he?
Something like that.
What was his gimmick? I get like weird Leviathan vibes. I get weird early Batista vibes from him. I don't know why.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And by the way, why do they have him covered up?
Who knows, man? I think this is one of those WWE things where they're like, let's see if this young guy could play ball, et cetera, et cetera. When you look back at those old pictures of Batista where he's a vampire and he's covered in chains, like, do you think you wanted to do that?
Okay, so I'm looking at this guy. He's a big dude, first of all, right? And he has a nice head of hair on him. Why did they shave him? Why did they shave his head?
Who knows, dude?
Like, legitimately, I'm asking this question. The big dude, impressive body, right? Because like there was a Brock Lesnar comparison for him.
Yeah.
Parker
Boudreaux.
Boudreaux. Cool name. Cool look.
Maybe they didn't want him to get ahead of himself. You know what I mean? Like sometimes when there's so much hype, you show up as like king shit.
I don't know. He's a young guy. I don't think he even had major. I feel like they made him look like Lars Sullivan.
Oh my God, that guy. Who?
Oh, dude, Lars Sullivan. That is a name that that is the biggest what if that we will have in that company in the modern era.
You got a bunch of pictures saved on your computer, right?
Tons of pictures of him saved on my computer. He's next to 86 Hogan, same folder. But fascinating. I'm watching this match, by the way, from a week ago. I'm just looking at this guy. I'm fascinated by the fact that they decided to cover him up in this weird Michael Myers outfit.
Yeah, it's bizarre, man. Maybe that's what they were going for. They love doing that with these big dudes. Like we go into this every so often. Nathan Jones,
another one,
right? Like was he the Colossus of Bago Road or whatever? Heidenreich.
I can't that video. I showed that video of Michael Cole and Heidenreich to Jess one time.
Yeah.
And she said that's one of the most disturbing things he's ever seen. Ever on wrestling. I'm like, yeah, it kind of is.
It's very disturbing.
He was going to do something. He was going to sodomize him. That's essentially what he was alluding to.
Do you want to take one more?
You can take whatever we got.
This is a good one.
Keith Leibowitz, by the way. I can't get over that. Keith Leibowitz and Leibowitz.
I would love it. If
oh, dude, you know what? Comes out with the little glasses. Right? Suited up. I'm very, and it's like, the guy is such an intellectual too, in like real life. He's just a smart guy. So like he would have such a great run. You know what? I want him to play a lawyer. I don't care. I don't care about what he does in ring. We all know how great he is, right? I want him to play this really high end New York attorney from the 80s. That's the gimmick,
dude.
That would. You know what? You just hit the nail on the head. That is the best gimmick I've ever heard in my life that you have ever come up with.
And you know what? That one's for free, boys.
Thank you. Someone needs to send that to Tony Khan and tell him this is what needs to happen with Keith Lee. He needs to play a very high-end, mid to late 1980s shark attorney from New York, Keith Leibowitz.
That would be phenomenal. It would show his range as a character.
Fantastic.
All right, let's take this one. This is a long one, so bear with me here.
Right.
This is from Dead Scream 13 off of Twitch.
What is that? What is that emoji?
I think it's a butt.
What is that? Is that Goku? Is that like a Goku?
I think that's oh yeah. That is I don't think it's Goku though.
No, it's not. It's like a
it's what
little
whatever
monkey
Goku
version
is
of
based
him.
on.
Okay.
All right. At Mattman, since there's such an influx of talent in AEW, now wouldn't it be more beneficial to move younger and greener talent to Dark and Elevation to have matches with each other rather than against local talent? That way everybody gets used to and are more happy in their roles with the company, and you could avoid the Big Swole and Brian Cage type issues.
Let me see this. Let me read this again. AEW wouldn't it be more beneficial if you move the younger and greener talent to Dark and Elevation to have matches? I mean, they do. A lot of those guys are on Dark and Elevation. But you still need to highlight, like if we're talking about like the Max Casters, I think those guys should be doing both. Are we talking about like Joey Janela? I think for me, I think Joey was the biggest what if when they first started AEW, because he was on a roll with this independent thing, and I don't, his own thing. He said that he needs to work harder or whatever he said, but like the Sunny Kisses, the Joey Janellas, there's a lot of these people that signed with AEW, and they didn't really. Maybe early on they would have fit in, but now like the roster's a lot deeper and a lot more heavy. I'd like to see what they're going to do with them, but you still need to showcase some of these guys on main TV. I think with Hook is going to be interesting because this is a good example of taking someone that is young and that is new, that has, I don't know how much of an online following it is, a vocal minority of fans that are really into him, but there's something there that a lot of people don't have. Put them on.
They're into Hook.
They're into Hook, but you could have Hook do Rampage once a month, and then have him down there. You could have him come back and do, his debut on Dynamite, and then he could go back down to Dark and do some stuff there. There's a lot that you could do here.
Absolutely. This next one is a comment from Cap'n Buh. Leibowitz and Leibowitz, and the second Leibowitz is Luchasaurus without a mask.
Oh, but my God.
I'm going to add on to this one.
Yeah.
I think it should be Leibowitz and Luchawitz.
Leibowitz and Luchawitz.
And it's Keith Lee and Luchasaurus.
Who's the manager? We need a manager. Somebody come up with it. Let the chat decide.
The manager of Leibowitz and Luchawitz.
Yeah. Very into it.
I'm super into this. This is going to be great. Watch, this is going to happen.
Can Taz be in that crew also as an attorney?
Hey, no, he's the guy they're constantly springing. Oh, Marco
Taz,
Stunt.
I got to tell you, my attorney, Joe Slater, very much like Taz.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, he's a Taz. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Are you sure this is legal? All right, let's see. Going down these questions, Mr. NXT asks, do you think Bron Breakker will be the guy to beat Roman Reigns for the title?
I don't think so. I don't. It depends. I have no idea how he'll look on that main roster. They need to. I'm waiting for him to get crazy like Scotty. Like that's what I want from him. Like I want him to just like kind of become nuts a little bit, and I think you could get that out of him. I think that comes very natural out of this guy to kind of like. I feel like I tell you this all the time. I feel like people have like about 8 to 10 hours a day that they could kind of contain themselves to act like normal people, and then after that, it's all hell breaks loose. People get totally unhinged. What?
We agreed on 3.
3 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever the time frame is, like people could kind of keep their composure for X amount of hours, and after that, it's nobody knows. I feel like with him, you need to hit that point where he only gets like a couple hours, and then he just turns into full Scott Steiner, and just is out of his mind.
Brandon George Lucas says Low Keybowitz.
Low Keybowitz.
I love that. Cadillac Carson says Markowitz Stuntowitz.
Markowitz Stuntowitz. I like that one too. These are good.
Fan of this.
Nice Jewish boys. All of them. Nice Jewish boys from New York.
And they'll feud with the Baby Boys.
Perfect. Keith Leibowitz is my favorite thing I've ever heard you say.
Is it really?
Because I could see him in my head. I could see it. I could see the gimmick.
Right. You nice suit, attaché case full of cocaine.
Is that what we're doing?
Small glasses. Yeah, because it's the late 80s.
Yeah, the late 80s.
I'm not saying he does the cocaine. Oh, Horny Harry in the chat room. Boom. Merry Christmas.
A very horny Christmas to you, Harry.
Oh, I like that little avatar you got there, Harry. That's awesome.
He does one of the best brandos I've ever heard in my life.
He does a phenomenal brando.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. And I'm going to skip over that question.
My sinuses just opened. I could breathe.
Pratik asks, will Harlan be the guy to beat Roman Reigns for the title?
Who knows? I have no idea what the upside on Harlan's going to be. What a stupid name. I don't like the name. Yeah. I don't like one name names. You know what I mean?
Like, you don't like Cher, you don't like Madonna.
Like, I'm cool if it's not like a cool name, right? Like Kane, right? Undertaker.
Yeah.
If you're giving a name like Harlan, I think it should have a first and last name.
What would Harlan's last name be?
Harlan? What would his last name be? Leibowitz.
I would go Green.
Harlan Green? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, because it reminds me of
I'm into that.
The cannibal from Con Air, Garland Green.
I want everyone's last name to be Leibowitz.
I think are you Andrew Leibowitz?
Andrew Leibowitz.
Let's see, what do we
Biff Harland. All right, cool. That. Yeah.
That'd be kind of funny.
All right, what else do we have?
Let's see. I think that's about it, my dude.
Oh, The Undertaker does have a first name. First name The, last name Undertaker.
That's how you should introduce yourself to people at parties.
Hey, look, it's The Undertakers.
First name The, last name Undertaker.
First name The, last name Undertaker. It's like Macho Man. First name Macho, last name Man.
Mm-hmm.
Von Harlan Sanders. I like Harlan Sanders.
Harlan Sanders works.
Yeah. The Harlan.
There you go. Well, you already have a Von, right? You have Von Wagner.
You have a Von. Well, you can't have more than one. But you know what? You have a Bron Breakker. What if Braun Strowman comes out? Do you just call him Breakker then?
Braun, Von, and Braun.
Braun Von Breakker.
And then have them be managed by Ron Simmons. And that's
perfect.
That's your tongue twisting.
The Rons.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are we done?
We're done.
All right. That's it, guys. That's it for the show. We'll be back next week. Maybe in studio. Maybe not. Let's see. We'll see what happens.
No, definitely not. I'm doing remote.
Santa Claus. You're doing remote?
I'm answering your question.
All right. Perfect. You answered my question. We'll do a remote next week. New Year's Eve edition. We also have a whole bunch of other shows that are supposed to come out. I got to talk to Rich about how we're doing this. We have maybe we'll do it after the new year. We have the best of 2021, the worst of 2021, our 2022 prediction show, which we didn't even get to some of this on the notes that we were going to talk about. And we have our Q&A and a what if show that we're going to have all on Patreon, by the way. They will be released later on, but it'll all go on Patreon, patreon.com/MattManPodcast. You can go there, subscribe to us, fund us. You can follow me on Twitter @AngersAir, and you can follow Rich, BTC Rich. And you do other podcasts. You want to give it a little plug?
I do. I put my BTC 2.0 on hold until next year. It's my comic book podcast. You can subscribe to it at BTC Rich X or BTC 2.0 on YouTube. And I do a film podcast with my buddy Alex K, Film Class Zeros. You can follow us at Film Zeros on Twitter and check out Film Class Zeros on iTunes. Check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Very, very cool. Guys, that's it for this week. We'll see you all next time. Take care.
Love you. Happy